Hello and welcome to the Simple-ESL podcast, a simpler way to learn English. And in today's lesson, we had a recommendation from our comment section asking for a lesson on, or a podcast on, science and English around science. So that is what we're going to look at today. We're going to learn about science in English. We'll listen to real conversations between two students working on a school science project, and you will learn some common science words, practice your speaking, and even take part in a science quiz. You can see on the screen we'll also have some mini grammar, speaking practice, and discussion questions, as well as a homework task. So let's begin today's lesson on science in English. Now, we're going to listen to a conversation between two students. I want you to listen and try to get the main idea of what is happening. And we'll go over the conversation afterwards with the vocabulary, the grammar, and what has been said.
Hi, are you doing the science project this term?
Yes, I'm working on the one about volcanoes. What about you?
That sounds exciting. I'm building a model of the solar system.
Cool. Are you using a poster or something interactive?
I'm using foam balls and string to make it 3D.
Nice. I like hands-on projects more than writing essays.
Same. It helps me understand how things work.
Are you presenting it to the class?
Yes, next Friday. I'm a bit nervous though.
Don't worry. You'll do great.
So that was our conversation between our ESL monsters and about their science project. Let's go through the conversation again and repeat each line after me to practice the pronunciation. Hi there. Are you doing a science project this term? So repeat after me. Hi. Are you doing a science project this term? Yes, I'm working on one about volcanoes. What about you? That sounds exciting. I'm building a model of the solar system. Cool. Are you using a poster or something interactive? I'm using foam balls and string to make it 3D. Nice. I like hands-on projects more than essay writing, or more than writing essays. Let's try that one again. Nice. I like hands-on projects more than writing essays. Same. It helps me understand how things work. Are you presenting it to the class? Yes, next Friday. I'm a bit nervous though. Don't worry, you'll do great. Hopefully you managed to repeat all those lines back and practice the pronunciation. Now, this conversation, what was being discussed? The students were talking about a science project they're doing this term. Can you name the two projects that the students were carrying out? One was about volcanoes and the other was about the solar system. Let's have a look at some of the useful science words from this conversation and other science words vocabulary we can use when talking about science. So let's take a look at some of the vocabulary that's useful when talking about science. I would like you to repeat after me for each word, and I'll give you an example of how that word can be used. Let's start with our first word. Volcano. Volcano. This is a mountain that erupts. We made a paper volcano for our project. Volcano. Solar system. Solar system. Planets and the sun. The solar system has 8 planets. Solar system. Model. Model. A small version of something. I built a model of a planet. Model. Experiment. Experiment. A test to learn something. We did an experiment with magnets. Experiment. Data. Data. Collected information. We recorded the data in a table. Data. Result. Result. What happened at the end? The result was a color change. Result. Hypothesis. Hypothesis. An idea you test. My hypothesis was that cold slows growth. Hypothesis. Hands-on. Hands-on. Practical. Using your hands. I prefer hands-on science activities. Hands-on. This is all useful vocabulary that we can use when talking about science. That was some useful practice with our speaking, practicing vocabulary that we can use when we are talking about science. But how else can we improve our spoken English? If you want to improve your English with a real tutor, you should try Preply. You can practice conversations like this on a one-to-one with a tutor. If you use the QR code on screen or click on the link in all my links, you will find a 30% off your trial lesson voucher for your first trial lesson on Preply. Find a tutor that fits your level, schedule and goals. Discover Preply's method for speaking language confidently. Master any language on Preply. But let's master some grammar here. Let's look at some quick grammar tips using comparatives in science. For example, this method is more accurate. Volcanoes are more dangerous than earthquakes. My model is simpler than last year's. Comparatives are often used when comparing results or methods. We can try using them with our own sentences. But let's go into the structure of comparatives. How we form comparatives. We can have short adjectives with one syllable. So fast, small, cold. We can add er to these adjectives to form the comparative. Faster. A rabbit is faster than a turtle. Smaller. A mouse is smaller than an elephant. Colder. Ice is colder than fire. We can form comparatives with adjectives ending in Y. We change Y to I and add ER. So easy becomes easier. Heavy becomes heavier. I found the test easier than last year. That suitcase is heavier than that box. We can form a comparative with long adjectives, so 2 or more syllables. For example, accurate, dangerous, exciting. We can do this by using more than the adjective. More accurate, more dangerous, more exciting. I thought the exam was more exciting than last year. Now don't forget than. When comparing, we usually say something than something. For example, A is bigger than B. So when we are comparing, we often use than. Let's practice. This experiment is more accurate than the last one. Repeat. This experiment is more accurate than the last one. Repeat after me. My project is simpler than yours. My project is simpler than yours. This material is heavier than paper. This material is heavier than paper. Final one. Biology is more interesting than history for me. Biology is more interesting than history for me. It's time for a bit of a trivia quiz. Let's take a breather, have a fun quiz. I will read each question, give you time to answer. Let's begin. What state of matter is steam? Gas or solid? What state of matter is steam? And our answer? It's a gas. Next question. What do plants need to make food? Water and sunlight or darkness? What do plants need to make food? Our answer, water and sunlight. Let's move on to our final trivia question. So our final trivia question, what planet is closest to the Sun? Mars or Mercury? A little bit of time left. Which planet is closest to the Sun? Mars or Mercury? And our answer, it's Mercury. How did you do with the trivia quiz? Did you get 100%? Let's move on to the next part of our English lesson. We have some discussion questions, so it's your turn. Answer these questions out loud or write them in your journal. What is your favorite area of science and why? My favorite area of science is biology, physics, chemistry. Have you ever done a science project? What was it? Have you built a volcano, a model of the solar system, a poster project? Can you describe a science fact in English? Can you describe gravity, for example? Would you rather study biology, chemistry, or physics? My favourite subject at school was chemistry out of the three. What is something interesting you learned in a science class? Try to speak in full sentences, even if they're short ones. This is how we build our fluency. We practice and we try to read full sentences and try to answer these questions. If you can answer all these questions, great news, you're doing really well with your fluency. You could be ready perhaps for the C1 level of our playlists. If you're struggling a bit, maybe the B level is a good level in terms of our playlists. And if you're really struggling, can't find even a single word to answer these questions, maybe it's time to look at our starter playlist, our beginner playlist, which are the A level playlists. Time to review and set you up with your homework task. Today we have practiced real science conversation. We've had repeat after me speaking, and we've used common science words and looked at their meanings. We did some quick grammar focus, especially around comparatives, and had some fun with a trivia quiz and speaking questions. I would like you, as a challenge for our next podcast, as a homework task, write or record 5 to 8 sentences about a science topic you like. You have to use at least 3 new science words from today's lesson. So put these into your written passage, your conversation, record or write 5 to 8 sentences about a science topic you like using the new science words. Hopefully you found this lesson useful and you're feeling a bit more fluent and confident with your English speaking when it comes to science. I'd like to thank you once again for learning with Simple-ESL and the Simple-ESL podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, maybe share it with a friend learning English. You can find more about lessons and worksheets and bonus content on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/simple-esl. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for weekly lessons, along with our weekly podcast. These can be found at allmylinks/simple-esl21. If you're in the UK and looking for help with tutoring on any subject, you want to learn some subjects, if you go to the QR code here or to all my links and go to Tutorful, you will get a £25 credit towards your first lesson. And if you are looking for one-on-one tuition, perhaps practicing your speaking and spoken language, why not try Preply down here in the bottom corner. You'll get 30% off your trial lesson with Preply, and you'll be matched up with a native speaker in your language that you want to learn. This is a great way to practice speaking, and if you want to try some of our worksheets, why not go to our Patreon page and sign up. But we will see you in our next lessons. We have a couple of lessons lined up for this week, and we'll have another podcast for you. But until then, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you in our next lesson.